Oh yeah, welcome back to another thrilling episode of the Toilet of Hell radio show. I'm Joe Thrashinkill. I'm beaten, but I'm here, goddammit. With me I've got the number one good and golden boy, 365 Days of Horror. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'll do great for the both of us. And just in case I can't, we have our good friend with us to ring in more October Spooktacular for his third time on the show. He has the hat trick, Trevor from the Black Dahlia Murder.
Hey!
Yo! So, Joe, what is going on today, man? What is so bad about today?
Oh, man, it's just, it's work. Wake up, walk the dogs, go to work, walk the dogs, do schoolwork, start the whole bullshit thing over again every single day. Just drags me on this one. But it's okay. Because we have you here today, and you've taken the crown now. We've had a few people do 2 times on the show, and I gotta say that's bullshit. That's not good enough. 3 times on the show, we gotta send you like a medal or something, like a trophy.
Awesome, I'd like that. I don't think I've ever had a trophy in my life, so that would be nice.
Not even a participation trophy?
I think I might have had something, because I used to play sports at the level where they had to let you on the team.
Hell yeah.
You know, basically up until you had to try out, I would play. So I played T-ball into baseball and football for 6th grade, but the end of every play I was just looking up at the sky on my back. I was never good at any sports, but I'll take a trophy, man. I'll like it, but I'm willing to come back too. We don't have to stop at 3 either, you know.
I got my eye on this website that sells trophies for fantasy football or whatever. There's one that has a toilet on it that I think it's perfect. We got to get that one for you.
That's great. That's really funny. I saw that you guys had Ross on the show recently.
Yeah. He came on last week. He turned us on to Frankenstein's Army, which neither one of us had ever seen before, and that one was great.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of that, but I saw you guys talking about it, and Ross is cool, man. He's definitely a character.
I enjoyed talking to him. You two are very similar, I think.
Yeah, we're definitely from the same brand of weirdo, I would say.
You should see some of the DMs he sent me. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, he's pretty funny, man. I love what he does with his G.I. Joe collection and makes little comics with them and stuff on Twitter. It's pretty funny stuff.
He's really kind of dove into this whole quarantine thing and really made the most of it. What have you been doing with your time, man?
I've been laying low. At first, the whole album launch thing kind of took my time up. I was doing a zillion interviews a day. And honestly, that whole thing was kind of the perfect storm. It was before the protests happened. And there wasn't a lot of albums coming out at the time. And every single webzine dude was at home and ready for an interview, it seemed like. So, in a way it was kind of cool. The lane was clear. But, now that's kind of calmed down. We're still trying to think of things to keep the excitement up for Verminous, even though we can't go out and tour. But now I'm just picking my butt pretty much. I've been on Cameo a little bit, trying to make a little scratch on there, and that's been kind of fun. And just kind of lifting people up. I mean, some of the requests are kind of sad. You know what I mean? You gotta console people on some serious shit sometimes, which is hard to do. But even that's nice. But for the most part, it's just kind of oh, cool. We do have fans out there. There is still a band. There is maybe life after this shit.
I think the last time we talked to you, you had just picked up an analog NT. Do you have any new gaming toys?
Yeah, I've gotten the other couple systems they put out since then. They did a Genesis and they did a Super Nintendo. And yeah, dude, I really love what they're doing over there. Obviously I'm stuck in the old school retro era of video gaming. That's kind of I don't know, it's kind of like a blanket of comfort for me or something. I'm a very nostalgic person. I like to just really tap into that a lot with music that I like, movies. I'm living in the past almost all the time, guys.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You had a Twitch channel for a while. Is that something you might pick up again?
Yeah, actually, I had just gotten LASIK done recently, and I'm kind of waiting for the eyes to completely settle. But I'm looking forward to coming back on there, not having that glasses glare going on. And that one I just kind of stepped back when the whole like protest started kicking off, and it just seemed kind of like tone deaf to be on there during, you know, all of that stuff. So I just kind of like stepped back to clear the lane for like way more important messages. You know what I mean? So it's time to come back. You know, it was fun. It was beginning to get lucrative for me. You know, like I have it easy compared to a lot of people just starting out because I have a built-in audience already. You know what I mean? So it's like almost a surefire thing. But the technical end of it, like messing around with, you know, it's like, you have to have a little bit of AV knowledge, you know what I mean, to be able to do it. And yeah, I definitely struggle with some of those aspects sometimes.
You gotta have an IT guy.
Yeah, that would be pretty kick-ass, actually. Like, come on over, man. We're gonna stream. I'll buy you a six-pack.
I feel like some of the top like YouTubers and Twitter people or Twitch people do have like a production assistant or an editor, someone that they pay to like help them make it look all professional while they're in the front cracking jokes and playing Simon's Quest.
Right. Yeah, man. You know, maybe I'll need to figure out how to do that, because there's definitely, you know, there's some guys that are just killing it out there. You know, you have Herman Lee that is basically saying like he doesn't even want to go back on tour anymore because it's going so well. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. I mean, it's definitely a lot easier than hauling your ass across the world, I guess.
Yeah, dude, there's no overhead at all. You know what I mean? Like all the money, you know, or like 99% of the money goes right to him. And yeah, I mean, I get it, dude. You know, I'm getting older too, man, but I can't wait to get back on tour, honestly. But I have no clue when that'll be, and I have little optimism for the form that it's going to be in when it comes back. So
I just want to share one quick anecdote. I think it was maybe a year, about a year ago exactly, that you guys came through Austin. I took some friends with me that had never had a chance to see the Black Dahlia Murder or Power Trip, and they were blown away by the set that you did there.
Oh, that's cool, man. It's definitely an honor to hear that. It's hard to keep up with Power Trip, you know what I mean? That was always like a daunting task, man. And obviously a huge honor to have played with those guys.
Absolutely. Well, you convinced a guy who had never been in the pit in his life to get down there.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. Sometimes I get convinced to go back into the pit, but it's very rare. And it's like the combination of chemicals inside of me and stuff like that. So, but yeah, sometimes I'll come out of Mosh retirement, but not without like having to lay in bed for 2 days afterwards.
Oh, it's just the worst feeling when you jump into the pit after a long time and you're winded within like 8 seconds. Just like, oh boy, that's right.
That's me, dude. Like, you know, if I get on the basketball court or something, I'm that guy that's like doubled over in about 2 seconds. You know?
Yeah. I have to like stretch every day now, or I'm just in debilitating pain. And I don't think anybody told me like, you're in your 30s and shit just sucks now.
Oh, for sure, man. You get hungover like astronomically worse every year, and your body just feels worse. And you know, by now you can start to just see that you've already been through the best part of your life.
Yep, you're all just decaying sacks of meat now.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next point. We brought you on here today as a part of our Halloween Spooktacular. You know, we asked you to pick out a movie, and you delivered. We all sat down. We watched a little movie called Beyond the Darkness, which has been released throughout the years as a number of different names. It was originally put out in 1979. Eventually, it was re-released in '87 as, I believe, Buio Omega or something like that. And in other places, it was known as, I think it was known as like Zombie 10 in Mexico.
Yeah, they tacked it on to like other horror movie series, and it's just like,
that's
sure,
weird how they do that. with the Italian stuff. There's definitely been a lot of like, I'll just throw it. It has a zombie sort of in it. Let's throw zombie on the title and make some money.
Yeah, I think about those old movies from the 70s and 80s where you didn't have Wikipedia where you can quickly track that shit down. It was like, I bet we can make like 10 G's on this shit just by flipping around some names. Better times.
I first heard of it through Impetigo. They had like an EP called Buio Omega, and once I ran into it I actually found it used at a record store. Around the time we were doing the second BDM record, and just I don't know, it scared the crap out of me. It sucks. Let's not like candy coat it here. It sucks. And it's kind of so slow that you could be watching another movie, like Picture in Picture, probably, at the same time.
I would say that this movie, it definitely has gore grind elements. So, like, there are moments for sure. There are moments that are going to capture your attention for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the gore looks pretty good. As a kid, like gore and, even like in death metal, I'm always just like a sucker for gory stuff. Like that's like the way to get me pumped right out of the gate on things. So, the gore level was good. It's got some realistic looking gore. The story drags a little bit as like the old Italian movies kind of do sometimes. And, Goblin did the soundtrack. That might be the best part.
They did, and as they're credited on the version that I saw, it's by the Goblins.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That's cool.
Yeah, the music's really good. It's if you like Goblin, you like zombie, you like Pinkish Black, like it's all that type of stuff. The thing is, it doesn't always fit with what's going on in the screen.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like, I don't know. They act like there's a lot more tense parts than there really are. You know what I mean? Like they're like trying to ramp nothing up or something. But there's a couple parts that are pretty grisly. The whole like dissolving the woman in the bathtub thing is, reminded me of that Piss Grave album. Kind of going back to like
I got the same vibe
the gore
from
grind
that
thing. Just like the human sludge in the bathtub. That part was pretty gross. And the fingernails getting ripped out right out of the sockets, that part I really felt, because I have ripped my own toenails out with pliers probably about 6 times now.
Now is that for like a fun thing, or did you have like an ingrown toenail?
It's awful. It started with like a toenail that was ingrown, and then basically, like, I did some research and found out that if I went to the hospital, they were going to do the same thing and just charge me a ton of money for it. You know what I mean? So basically, we soaked my foot in hot water and Epsom salt and just kept changing the water and salt for like an hour. And I just ripped it out with pliers, man. And it's happened to both of my toes now, both my big toes. So I have these like totally disgusting George Washington toenails. It's like they look like they're wooden or something, like, and they never seem to grow back the same like right way or like with the same integrity. So all it takes now is someone stepping on your foot too hard at a show. Just you're standing behind someone with boots on or something, and there you go, man. And it's definitely sucks, but yeah, I definitely feel that part extra hard.
I want to like crowdfund you some steel toe boots or something.
I need those things that you just slip on. Like if you're a runner, you have like that like toe profo kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
like a hard mold of the toe. Yeah, I just need those, or steel toes or cement shoes. I don't know.
I sat down and I watched this movie with my wife last night. She's a total horror fanatic. She knows more about the genre than I do. She's seen way more Italian horror than I have. And at the end of this movie, she looks over at me and says, what do you think? I was like, that was fucking depraved. And she was like, oh, I loved it.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I was hoping to deliver the goods, but like I said, those movies, like, you got to have a tolerance for boredom, kind of. They're always a slow burn,
I think I think it's useful to look at this movie as a collection of scenes because the plot is a little bit the plot's a little nonsensical. What do you think, Jordan?
I when we were talking offline and Trevor had suggested this movie, and I saw it was an Italian horror movie, I kind of had this dread wash over me because I was afraid it was going to be like Salo.
Oh, God, yeah.
Or just like one of those like fully depraved Italian, crazy, gross porno movies. But it wasn't that, but it was getting close to that at certain points.
I think we had 3 different full frontal scenes in this one.
There's a lot of nudity in this, all things considered.
Yeah, definitely a lot of pubic hair, a lot of nudity, a lot of tan lines.
That's how you know it's from the 70s.
The whole, like, why didn't they embalm the girl that died in the first place?
Okay,
Like,
that's
my first big question about
that was my big
the
beef
plot.
with the movie, and I think we should get into it right from here. So we open this film with our boy Frank Weiler, and as we open the film, he's just like driving around in his pimp ass van and unloading shit. Meanwhile, across town, his girlfriend's in the hospital dying, which may be related to some kind of voodoo curse. So our boy goes home, finishes unloading shit, and his friend tells him, hey, by the way, there's a call from the hospital. He calls her a fucking idiot, goes to the hospital, sees her in her bed where she is not doing well. She knows she's dying, and she says that I just wanted to see you as you are one more time. And he says, death cannot keep us apart. They embrace, and she fucking plonks dead. This is not great for our man Frank. Frank was deeply in love. So it takes us to her funeral, right? Jordan, what is he doing at this funeral? What did you see on the screen?
Do we get to the funeral, or isn't before that it's the woman who had this voodoo done, which is never addressed again?
Oh God, I almost forgot this. I'm so sorry. Please continue.
It is done by kind of his mother figure / housekeeper, Iris, who is in love with Frank.
Iris, who reminds me a lot of like Cindy McCain, just with a totally straight plastic face.
It's a very specific type of woman taking care of Frank to the point where she breastfeeds him.
He's staring like just forlornly, and she just shoves a titty in his mouth.
It's like, oh, don't worry about it, Frank. We'll get you your milk, and everything's gonna be okay.
And this is, like I said, it's an Italian movie. The version we watched is dubbed, and with a lot of these like late 70s and early 80s horror movies that have been dubbed, there's a lot of moist mouth sounds to kind of go over what's actually happening in the movie, which to me was like the grossest part of the movie, because all you hear is and I'm just like, ew, stop, gross.
It's pretty gross. Gross.
Yeah, get these guys a windscreen, man. Like a pop filter.
So I would say from that moment in the film, when we're maybe like 6 minutes deep, when this guy's mourning and she just jams her titty in his mouth, and I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be fucking weird. So yes, she's in the funeral home. Our man Frank sneaks in and jabs her with a syringe of it's probably some kind of I don't know, taxidermy type gel. He's a hobbyist.
Some kind of preservative stuff.
Yeah.
But again, I don't understand why they weren't going to embalm her as part of like whatever, like her funeral.
Right. This is probably the biggest question I've got about the entire movie. But as he's like jabbing her, some guy, like he thinks he sees something. Frank wasn't as smooth as he thought he would be.
So the funeral home employee was watching this. And the reason why they didn't have any embalming, at least my thinking while watching this, is because he was planning to like reanimate her. Like that's what I was thinking was going to happen. He's jabbing her with this to keep her preserved so that he can bring her back to life like the other things he's taxidermed. But I was giving this movie too much credit because that just didn't happen.
He gets she gets buried. Her father tells the funeral home director, "Here, just have a bundle of money and take care of the rest of the shit. I can't bear to be around here anymore. By the way, my other daughter is going to stick around until the end of the school semester, and I'm out this movie. I'll see you later." Late that night, Frank gets in his pimp-ass van, sneaks down to the cemetery, digs her right up, jams her in the back of the van.
And this is where the goblin music really didn't fit, because he's digging his dead girlfriend up from the ground, carrying her corpse, and we have like funky bass and like chill synth going on.
Tight-ass arpeggios.
And it's funny, he just pretty crudely throws her in the back of the van, and she's definitely like thumping around back there while he's driving. Like he's not taking a whole lot of precaution for being in love with this chick beyond the grave. You know what I'm saying?
I really want to give major props to this actress who, was only technically alive for about 30 seconds in this movie and just is excellent as a totally lifeless body. She rolls with the punches.
I swear there was 1 second, like when you first see her, when he's about to shoot her up, where like I saw her move her eyes while they were closed, kind of. Like she had some REMs going on.
The resolution on my version of this was pretty shit, so I couldn't see that closely on it, unfortunately. So yeah, he's rolling. He's driving real fast to get back home with his dead girlfriend, as you would do, I guess, if you were in a similar situation. Some ladies on the road hitchhiking. He drives right past her. She's pissed off about that. But he has to pull over to change a tire for a reason that did he have a flat, or did I miss that entirely?
I think it was implied that he was driving fast and got a flat tire.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't great. They didn't do a great job there, and the cops came and asked him if he wanted help. Talk about fiction, dude. Like
I have never once had that happen when I had car troubles. All right, see you later, young fella. We'll go, I don't know, beat up some other kid.
Yeah, for sure.
So he gets back in his van, and hey, there's a lady there. It's the lady that was hitchhiking. It turns out it's a very rude English backpacker. What was your impression of this character?
She's a little pushy. Obviously, she let herself right into his vehicle without introducing herself or anything in the dark, and she just basically like lights up a joint. She's just, I don't know. She's in her own kind of world there, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt so comfortable that I would get in a stranger's car without even asking them and just start smoking hash.
Yeah, she's, I don't know. She's a character for sure.
She offers some of that sweet dubage to Frank. He politely declines. She smokes herself to sleep in the car. I'm watching this with my wife. She was like, "You should not do that. if you are a single woman, you should not sneak into a car and do drugs and fall asleep."
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not.
So he gets home. He
gets home and it's time to embalm, right?
Yeah, man. He drives the car into the garage, locks the door, leaves the lady sleeping there in the side of the car, pulls his dead girlfriend's body out, puts her on the slab, and man, it is time to go to town. I think this is the thing that stuck in my craw throughout the entire movie, because she is just full of blood and organs.
And it's definitely gross. They did a pretty good job of like making it, it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, I would assume they use like pig organs or something like that.
It looked like it, yeah.
So it definitely looked like it was real for sure. Like there's some kind of animal organs going on there. Like there was pretty high quality stuff. It was definitely stomach churning.
I guess I liked seeing how you would pump blood out of the body before we had like full on automated machinery. You have to like actually put up a physical resistance with the pump. Again, pretty gnarly stuff, pretty gross.
Yeah, you had to put in the old elbow grease to get it done then.
Exactly. So he's, just digging through, pulling out organs and blood and, whatever else is there. You have a bit where he removes the eyes and very lovingly puts in some brand new glass ones, which is something that I forget that happens.
It's never addressed again.
Yeah. And around that moment, as he's really, just elbow deep in removing goo, the lady that hitched a ride wakes up and sees what's going on and is disturbed by it. So rather than trying to escape quietly, she decides to scratch at his neck wildly. This proves to be a poor idea. Trevor, how would you rate the feeling of pain of ripping out your toenails on like a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, it's up there for sure. But like I said before, there's some preparation when you do it, and usually the nail's like half off. That's kind of the reason you have to pull it off. So like this lady had her nails ripped out, just no anesthesia, no preparation, just right out of the sockets, just to be a total asshole,
Yeah, it's very unkind.
The look of the nail bed too, like after she yanked it out, I can confirm that looked pretty realistic. That's kind of what it looks like when you have no nail under there.
Pretty fucking gnarly. Jordan, what was your take on that one?
I think like the pulling of the nails out or like doing stuff with eyelids is always the go-to to make everyone extremely squeamish. And I'm not really into like torture horror movies. It's not really my thing. But while watching this, in the context of this movie, it felt kind of almost random. Like why is he specifically pulling her nails out? Why isn't she doing anything to fight back? I know it's just nitpicking when the movie just focus on dead bodies and sex, which is what we get to right after this scene when Iris comes to help Frank out, and this is where the movie kind of gets you to start to tilt your head a little bit further because it starts to become very sexual very quickly.
For the rationalization I gave for the fingernails thing was because she scratched him in the neck with her fingernails, so he was like, I'll remove them or whatever before strangling you.
Okay, good enough.
Now there you go.
I might have applied more logic than is necessary for this film.
So they chop up the hitchhiker's body, and the Iris disposes of it just in a hole, like near the house. And job well done. So
the scene of basically Iris helps him drag the body into the bathroom. Where, by the way, like Frank had just bothered her while she was doing like heavy gardening.
Yes, he is not nice to her.
No, he's not, and he's making her do all the hard work. Like he's fucking around with the poison in the bathtub, and she's just hacking away at these limbs. Like she must be an incredibly strong woman.
Oh, for sure. Can you imagine how hard it would be to actually hack somebody apart? It would be insanely hard. And she just does it like a pro. Yeah. And that whole moment is pretty gruesome. Like when the head comes off and stuff. It looks fake, but it's still gross. And the whole like dissolving the body together thing, it's definitely pretty gruesome. And definitely summons that piss grave image in my mind.
I think this was the second thing that stuck with me. It's that Frank is wearing like a mask to, not breathe in harmful fumes. He does not offer one to Iris. And Iris is just like fucking throwing 3-pointers at the bathtub with these limbs where this like incredibly noxious liquid is coming out. Like there's no safety taken into account here. And furthermore, when that's all done, when the body's dissolved in whatever kind of chemical, she's dumping it out in the yard, which I think is very bad for the groundwater.
Yeah, for sure. It might be good for the plants, though.
That's a good point. Where are we at in the story here, Jordan?
Now this just kind of theme continues throughout the rest of the movie of Frank meeting different women, them instantly falling in love with him and his dreamy eyes and his amazing 70s hair, and then he proceeds to brutally murder them.
Yeah, there is like a common thing involved there, though. Like these beautiful women, they see him, and they throw themselves at him, and he's like, "Okay, we can definitely do this, but we're going to do it next to the taxidermied corpse of my ex-girlfriend."
Yeah, that's the clincher.
As you can imagine, these women are not into it. And that, of course, results in, I guess I gotta kill another person. Nuts.
Yeah, like, is he trying to replace her, or like, is he like really looking for love, or like, what's going on?
I was gonna ask you that question. What do you think is the motivation behind this fella?
I don't know. Maybe he's trying to replace her, like find someone that he'll love. That's in the present tense, maybe. But I don't know. It gets kind of like more twisted later when he refuses to get rid of the body, like in spite of Iris's pleas.
It's a sticking point both in relationships and with your housemates.
Yeah.
It's like refusing to do your dishes. I don't know, Jordan. What do you think? What do you think is the drive there for this character?
I was thinking maybe it was, because we established in the beginning that they never slept together, and she died before they could. So it's some sort of, he can't perform unless he's around with her. It's some sort of like mental cheating thing that he can't overcome.
There you go.
So he wants to like still be with her while being with these other women, but of course they're terrified because there is a corpse next to them.
I think that checks out. I think that's probably a good read on this whole thing. I guess we should point out that Frank lives in an amazing Italian villa that has just the most amazing like furniture all throughout it. He puts her this corpse in a double bed. It's one bed, but it's like separated by this beautiful wood craft work where you basically have two twin-size mattresses in the middle, which is, I don't know enough about the history of furniture. I'll learn about that, but that seems like a very odd thing.
The history of furniture sounds like a real exciting niche to be into.
It's just like, I guess back in the day, like you had the local craftsman build this 2-ton bed out of like exotic woods, and then you were like, all right, time to sleep on a terrible twin-size mattress with a foot of wood separating me and my terrible wife.
Yeah.
Anyway, so our man, the funeral home worker, comes to the house under false. What is the word for it, Jordan?
Pretenses.
Pretenses. That's the one. He gets a guy to go up to Frank and say like, "Hey, I got a buddy that's interested in you taxiderming this fucking baboon for him," which is kind of wild. I'd never considered such a thing, but I suppose that would be in vogue at the time. While he's asking about it, he's sneaking around. He finds the locket from the dead girlfriend and gets off into his incredibly badass station wagon with what looks to be like Masonic lodge stickers all over it. What do you think that was?
I don't know, man. I didn't really notice that, I guess.
I mean, it's an Omega symbol, is at least on one of them, so that's where I guess the name of the movie partially comes from.
Oh, fuck. I just assumed that he was, one of those, what is it, Illuminati Masons or whatever.
A fraternity brother?
Yeah, that's it. He was butt chugging right before that scene.
He wears weird hats and stuff.
Yeah, he's got one of those little cars that they drive around in parades. It's awesome.
It's worth pointing out that this funeral home employee, I don't even know if we ever get his name, is doing better police work than the actual police, who do show up at Frank's house, look around one room and go, yeah, looks fine.
I loved the scene with the cops. That was so good.
Yeah, they're basically like, hey, you can have this taxidermied squirrel.
He's like, oh, gee,
like,
really?
Oh, gee, whiz, thanks. I guess we'll get out of here. You guys are nice.
Yeah, Frank is jogging along the trail next to this incredibly picturesque mountain, and he sees a woman jogging. She hurts her foot. He takes her home to rub exotic lotions on her. And
yeah, that part is weird, dude. He's like staring off into space. He's putting like way too much ointment or whatever the hell it is on her. And she's like, wow, you're really good at this. Are you a doctor? You're so good at ointment.
You're so good at
PhD in ointment.
Yeah, you're so good at rubbing Ben Gay sloppily on my ankle. I just gotta fuck you right now.
Yeah, she definitely like falls for him like for no reason. Again, he barely says like 2 words to her. You know,
he's not a very charismatic guy.
No, he's got that kind of 1,000-mile stare going on for sure.
But you know the ladies can't get enough of him, so you know he tries that whole thing of, all right, we can do it, but it's got to be next to my dead girlfriend, and unfortunately she doesn't go for it. So he eats a part of her face.
Yeah, that was gnarly. He just bit a big old chunk out of her neck.
It's super fucking. I think that we might have missed something with this because I believe after we dispatched the hitchhiker, there was a scene that made me leave the room for a moment. Jordan, do you remember what happened with Iris in the kitchen?
Remind me.
So after Iris does all the hard work of disposing of the body while Frank just kind of like looks at everything moodily, she serves him a platter in the kitchen and starts digging in herself.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is no big deal to her.
And it's like Dinty Moore or like something terrible, like canned stew, and it looks terrible, and she's just like eating it like an animal and getting it all over her face and stuff, and like trying to gross him out, and it worked on all of us.
Yeah, the mouth sounds, man, just fucking killed me. And I guess it is even funnier when you consider those mouth sounds were dubbed over from Italian to American.
Someone was paid to make those mouth sounds.
Smack the lips.
Oh, fucking nasty all throughout. I think where are we at in the plot here, Jordan?
So after he kills the jogger, they then burn her corpse in a furnace in the house.
Yeah.
And after this is like, I guess, Iris's big master plan. She's finally killed his girlfriend. He's under her spell of, I'll take care of you no matter how many random women you kill. She has her weird family come over to the house and announces that she is now engaged to Frank, who is very much not into this and runs away.
Dude, one of the relatives, one of the ladies had a serious mustache, man. She had like a real soup sifter.
I couldn't tell if that was a joke or not.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably on purpose to make her family look nuts or whatever. And, but yeah, Frank definitely was not pleased with the announcement.
This is definitely like the cousin Eddie side of the family, like full on Italian freaks. Sure.
I don't know if either one of you guys have ever seen, it's a Belgian horror movie called Rabid Grannies from Troma.
No, I know of it, but I've never seen it.
So I won't get into it, but there's like one of the beginning scenes is this weird eccentric family around a table celebrating their grandmother's birthdays, and it has that like same awkward European feel to it. Like, I don't know if it's just because we're Americans and we're seeing this sort of thing, but it's just not something that we do anymore.
I mean, when we talk about like Europe, I think that in the mind of the average American or whatever you're thinking about, like kind of a cosmopolitan thing, but there are some real fucking hillbilly freaks all across the entire continent.
For sure. I can confirm that.
We have the cops come by like really soon after this. They're talking to Frank, who can't look them in the eye. Again, I don't think he maintains eye contact with anybody in this movie. Iris comes out. She's a smooth operator. She's like, "Hey, I'll show you around the house. You want to see the basement?" They're like, "Yeah, we want to see the basement." They go down. They look directly at the furnace that girl that they're looking for is, burned alive in. Don't see anything. Nothing.
Most realistic part of the movie.
Yeah, it was very, very thorough. They opened up the furnace, looked inside, nothing to see here.
I love to see the police work. I love to see it. So everybody's gone. The family's gone. The cops are gone. And our funeral home guy sneaks in the house, which is fortuitous because it looks like Iris had just downed 12 bottles of liquor all at once.
Yeah, she's like cross-eyed, like surrounded by all these bottles.
Yeah, there's like a bottle of Fernet Branca there. There's like a couple of champagne bottles, definitely some whiskey. She's a small woman, but she can put it away.
But she's depressed. Her Swiss watch of a plan to get Frank to marry her didn't work out.
That's
right.
Fair. So like when by the way, it's in this shot, it's like 3 p.m. Like the sun is just blaring through the windows and I can feel how much pain she's in. But our man, he's sneaking around. He finds the dead girlfriend's taxidermy body, takes some photos and gets the fuck out of Dodge. Iris finds that thing on the ground and is like, hey Frank, you thinking about maybe getting rid of your dead girlfriend? And he like hits her. He's a very mean person.
He gets brutal on her right there for sure.
This relationship that they have, like I want to know so much more about it. More importantly, I want to see like a full delve into Iris's character. I don't get enough of her, I don't think. Like
maybe it's motivated by money ultimately. You know what I mean? Like, because they kind of say that he inherited like a ton of money from his parents or whatever. But there's also that whole like weird love connection, sort of incestuous weird thing going on.
Yeah, because like Iris raised him from I don't know what age, and but she also probably wants to get in on that inheritance because he's wealthy. He's got a pimp ass house. I can see it. It's I don't know. What was your read on that one, Jordan?
Yeah, I think I'm along the same lines of like his parents were gone. She was the only mother figure for him. So they have this sort of mother-son bond without the, actually being related sort of thing. And that's kind of grown and built into her psychoses. And they've just been on a path towards destruction ever since.
10 years of breastfeeding, into adulthood.
Yeah, that'll mess anyone up. Yeah. It's like you hear some of these celebrities that like still breastfeed their kids when they're in like 10 years old, or they chew their food up for them like they're mama birds. It's kind of the same thing a little bit.
So you can handle a knife and fork. You need to get the titty out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I think this is a part where I got confused in the movie a little bit, where Frank decides to go out to the disco. Like, what's the deal happening here?
I think he's kind of become maybe addicted to finding and killing women at this point, because this is number 3 or 4 at this point. So now it's just his routine. It's his Thursday night.
Of course, he's able to just say 2 words to her and she's ready to go home and get naked.
Yeah.
He's got the touch.
She's like, hey, do you want to dance? He's like, no.
It's the art of seduction. He was negging her.
Yeah, and then immediately he's like, do you want to go get in my car? I never read into the pickup artist stuff. Is that how that's supposed to work?
I've never read it either, but sure, why not?
Man, now that guy is something, dude. Oh, wow. The like big velvet hat and stuff. He's awesome.
Oh man, yeah, that fucker. He I don't know if he's still in Austin, but he filmed his terrible show here, Mr. E, He's probably in prison now, right? Anyway, yeah, she's like, well, I don't know anything about you. You're sullen and won't look me in the eye. And total stranger, but yeah, I'll go get in your car with you and go to your place. So they do. She shows up, immediately gets in the tub, starts bathing in the same spot where the hitchhiker got done dissolved. And at that moment, the doorbell rings. What's the haps there?
At the door is his dead girlfriend's sister, who we've completely forgotten about since the beginning of the movie.
Hasn't been brought up once.
Nope. And Iris is still there, despite being hit by Frank. She's still in the house working for him, and she's pretty mad at him that he brought home a lady, and now there's another lady.
Yeah,
there's way too much competition right now.
So he kicks out.
He starts to freak out. Yeah, he kicks her out. Kicks out the lady from the disco, and kind of freaks on her a little bit.
Yeah, she really dodged a bullet here for sure. I mean, not only is he almost certainly going to murder her, but like just based on his interactions, like this is not somebody that you want to build a relationship with.
No,
you're not going to start a family with him.
No.
So he's like, "Get out! I'll drive you home. Just go quickly." So they sneak out, and the sister is told, "Go wait in this creepy room. I'm not going to bring you a magazine or a drink. You're just going to sit here in silence until Frank comes home."
In the dark. She's sitting in the dark.
That's it. Like Iris shuts out the lights for her while she's sitting there. Again, very rude. So that freaks her out a bit. She's trying to find her way out, and then there's fucking Iris at the doorway with a fucking butcher knife. Again, creepy lady. Was it at this point that Frank comes in?
Yeah, right. Like Frank comes in, he sees her like about to attack the twin sister, or maybe that she did attack the sister, and like stops her, and then they get into a squabble, and he kills Iris ultimately.
Yeah. I think the scare of seeing Iris with a knife knocked out the sister. She like passed out from fright, and Iris stabs Frank in both the dick and gouges out his eye.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome for sure. The dick stab was good.
It was. He's very clearly in massive dick pain.
The symbolism. It's subtle, but it's there.
Yes. So Frank, fighting with his massive dick injury, manages to grab the sister, take her down to his laboratory, and our man from the funeral home sneaks in. He finds like a trail of blood, goes down there and sees the furnace is going, with Frank sitting right next to it. So he goes over, and Frank gets up, is ready to fight, but he's bleeding out of his eye and his dick, and, well, unfortunately, Frank is dead.
Yeah, he just kind of like blows it and slumps over at that point.
Yeah, man, it's pretty pathetic. You want to take us through the rest of this one?
So at this point, the funeral home employee takes the sister who's passed out. He takes her back to the funeral home, I think believing that she's Anna. She's Anna's corpse, and begins to nail her up in the coffin, where at the very end of the movie, the sister awakens, pushes the coffin open, and lets out a super duper scary scream, and that's the end.
Yeah, that was the scream ending, very reminiscent of Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, it kind of had that one final shock ending, and then it like stays on it for a couple seconds before fading away.
The Sleepaway Camp ending was awesome, for sure.
It's iconic.
It is. It's definitely iconic.
The actress who played that role, she does all the like horror movie conventions and things like that, and I've seen pictures of her. She can still do the face, which is kind of awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, she probably has to like keep that on tap, you know.
Busted out at parties.
Yeah.
Our man that directed this film was Joe D'Amato, who has made like roughly 1 million movies in his lifetime, like really spanning the gamut of like different things from like spaghetti westerns, like dramas, and then like towards this later period, started working in a very specific tone with things like the erotic Nights of the Living Dead and porno Holocaust.
That's rich. I haven't seen any of those that he's done, really. This is like the only thing I'm really familiar with by him.
I believe this was his last film. So he had westerns, he had war movies, and then he just did straight porno for a while.
I'm looking at his list of movies, and there's 2 on here that I actually recognize. It's Ator the Fighting Eagle and Ghost House. And the only reason why I know those 2 movies is because they're used for riff tracks, which are the guys from Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Riff Tracks is tight.
I would be down to check those out.
They're bad.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's bad. So bad.
I think in terms of the blood and guts in this movie, the initial taxidermy, which left us all confused why nobody bothered to like embalm the body at first, and especially the scene dissolving a body in a bathtub, are really fucking gnarly, really fucking gross, and if you're on a budget, you could probably use those for your music video for your death metal band.
For sure.
Yeah, I've seen enough of the Zoom music videos that people are doing now, or the green screen stuff. Let's get some more practical gore going on again.
Yeah, there is no CGI to be had here.
The movie was done in 2 weeks, and it shows.
It's like a 2-week vacation too. Like that's the way you ought to do it.
It's kind of on par with like a high school Spanish video in terms of quality.
What about this movie draws you to it, Trevor?
I guess it's the necrophilia aspect, which has like been such a prominent theme in Black Dahlia's music. And this movie would influence our song Death Mass Divine a bit, along with like this whole Carl Tanzler thing where he was keeping a woman turned into a doll somewhere in Florida. But I just thought it was really creepy. Like I said, I picked it up with no knowledge of it. You know what I mean? So it definitely left an impression for sure.
What are your thoughts on the whole package there, Jordan?
I think it takes a little bit of patience to watch this. I think there is something to it with the underlying violence and sexuality. I think at times it's very much in your face and very obvious what they're going for. But I could definitely see how a movie like this maybe not be on the tip of horror fans' tongues, but you could see how it might influence things that came later on in the 80s and even in the early 90s, how it can kind of be almost inspirational in its depravity.
That's a very good turn of phrase.
Like I said, I put way too much thought in this movie, more than anyone who actually made it, so I prettied it up for everyone.
Yeah, see, for me, like, I guess it's like the love beyond the grave, like love beyond this mortal realm, I guess, is I don't know, I just think that's creepy. That's the kind of thing that attracted me to use it in a song form.
I think also it's interesting to look at how this movie was made and how it was distributed, which is to say everywhere all the time, any way you can get it. And probably like what a fat profit they made from like a 2-week trip to Italy.
Yeah, no doubt. Just like rename it a few times and put it back out.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten that in metal, to be honest. Like a band putting out an album under one name, trying to see who picks it up. Maybe it doesn't work out. Putting out the same music maybe a year later under a different name, just to like see who bites on it.
I feel like a brutal death metal band could probably get away with that the easiest. Maybe just like rearrange the tracks too, the track order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, different artwork, a different name, and maybe this time, Willow Tip will pick up on it. Maybe this time, $20 Spin will, email us back.
I mean, like, I'm almost tempted to try this now.
I mean, maybe it's happened and you just, no one's ever spilled the information on it. Why not try it at this point?
What is the record label that they charge you like $10,000 to put out 200 CDs?
Oh, what's that black metal label that contacts everyone who starts a Bandcamp page?
God, I can't remember the name of it. It's killing me. I hope that Trevor, at your level of success now, you're not still contacted by the same low-level grifters that try to get in touch with us.
No, yes and no. I feel like I definitely have to keep my grift shields up. I have a lot of avenues between all my social medias and Twitch and other things where people can get at me. So
do not try to grift this man.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the grift now going on is like smaller labels. Someone will contact them, typically from like a European country, and be like, the CD you sent me wasn't working properly. Can you send me a download code instead or something like that, just so they can get the album without actually having to pay for it?
Yeah, I saw some labels hashing that out on Twitter. And we're like, does this happen to you, man? Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for labels and just musicians to talk to each other, especially with some of these things. I mean, for my band's emails, we'll randomly get, hi, I work for this zine in Brazil. Send me your CD and I'll do a review for you. And if I Google the zine's name, you'd see a bunch of hits saying, do not send this person a CD. You'll never get it back. They'll never write anything about you. It's a scam. So it's one of those things where we have social media. We should probably talk about these things more.
I mean, how could you be that guy? Like, how could you, be a participant, quote unquote, in the underground and like do that to somebody? It's so fucking low.
I guess it just kills me. Like, I can't ever, it happens all the time, but I still can't ever imagine having the thought pop in my head like, yeah, I'm into underground metal for the money.
It's like the kid that would steal a shirt off of your merch table at your own show. You know what I mean? Like he's out there. It's happened. It's fucking weird.
And that's fucked up. I've never once considered like that. Why would you? Don't do that. What the fuck? And I like to steal shit. It's not like a.
Yeah, man. Go to Walmart, dude. Like,
you're not sticking it to the man. You're hurting a band you presumably like.
Yeah, I'm a master of the self-checkout.
Dude, when you're like weighing your own bulk food, and
that's bananas.
Everything is a banana.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, completely different. You're stealing from the man, not from like a band that you went to see to support. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy as hell. Yeah, I don't get it, man. The rip-off artists in the underground, and they're definitely out there.
You probably keep track of things happening in metal better than pretty much anybody that I know. What are some bands that you've been seeing that are popping off that are really scratching your itch?
Defeated Sanity, of course. The Reigning Kings of Brutal Death Metal. I love that record. I think it might be their best record. I still have to listen to it a few more times, I think, but really, really like that. Those guys never disappoint. And man, what else? I've been liking a lot of the Maggot Stomp stuff that's been coming out. Just a lot of like boneheaded death metal, pretty much.
It's total brain dead camo shorts mosh. I love it.
Yeah, Doug, I love that there's so many young people getting into death metal, but not just like super produced Pro Tools death metal, but like looking to the past, looking to like the tape trading era, and like, sounding like shit on purpose, and just kind of capturing that atmosphere. And You know, like the early days of death metal is just a bunch of young kids excited about this new genre. They were not masters of their instruments at all. And they just kind of like fumbled through making some music that like hopefully was scary sounding. You know what I mean? Like that was the whole impetus. It wasn't like trying to play as Olympically fast as you could yet or anything like that. That hadn't really come into the picture. So, you know, when I see young bands that kind of tap into that era, I like it. I think it's really cool. It's really like refreshing to me and really gives me hope for like more generations of cool metal to come down the pipes.
Yeah, I'm fully with you on that. I dig it, and maybe this is just me, like as a mediocre guitar player myself, but like I'm a little bit turned off by, you know, 8-string sweep picking. Like I can't do that shit. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear something that's a little bit more in line with what I'm capable of.
For sure. You know, I'm kind of like just totally gone cold on that world. Like there's just been so much of it to come down the pipes in the last few years. And just so much of it sounds exactly the same, you know, just riffs that are pieced together that sound like Guitar Pro, basically. And, you know, they all have the same drum sounds. They all have the same, like, similar vocalists. And I don't know, man. I just kind of, like, lost my lust for that kind of thing. You know, I like imperfect stuff. You know, like, I like stuff that has personality, where, you know, each record sounds individual. It has its own kind of sounds. It has its own trappings even, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think it's just more refreshing. And, you know, even with my own band, we've been kind of moving away from that super sterile production. And, you know, we kind of fallen in that trap a couple times, I think, in the early days. But, you know, now we try to keep the drums real, try to keep things more lively, try to do, like, not do as much cut and paste in the studio, but rather play the entire song, even if it has repeating parts. And just in an effort to make the music more exciting to the ear, you know, because if you're hearing the exact same part, cut and paste, like, you don't realize it while you're listening to it, but it's just, it tires you out. Like it gets boring to your ear. And you might, you know, it's like, this is all stuff that our new guitarist Brandon has really been waking us up to. You know, he's a wild dude. He's brought a lot of interesting ideas to the band, and you know, we've been trusting him as basically like the producer of the band within the last while here. So he's definitely like stepped into a big role, and it's been cool.
Well, that's excellent. Yeah, there's something to be said about like all of the different sounds that you can have coming into your ears, and like just changing up how the production of the thing is, you know, like just the atmosphere and what the space is going on around the notes.
For sure, you know, and just like overly quantizing everything, I think is just a big trapping of a lot of modern extreme metal. And that just makes it sound so robotic and so clinical when everything's perfect, you know, and there's just no personality to be heard. There's no like actual life to it, anything, you know, so.
I think that we're probably running out of time here, so I wanted to ask you, what are you going to be watching on this Halloween?
Ooh, man, there's like a few movies on my list that I want to see that I know are really extreme, and like just the reputation they have scares me. Like Salo that you guys were talking about earlier. I haven't seen it, but like it's on my short list. I have it ready to watch, but like I'm still like talking myself into it. And like just for years, I've kind of like kept like I just saw Martyrs finally. But I kind of kept that one at arm's length for a long time because people were like, yo, that movie's insane, man. You're going to want to turn it off, you know? And I get scared before I even see it. Like just my imagination kind of runs wild. So I definitely want to watch Salo. What else is on my short list? Frontiers. But like all the classic stuff, the stuff I really like, you know, from my youth is like all the slashers, Friday the 13th. The Halloween series. I got a lot of love for Halloween 2, the OG Halloween 2. People never talk about that one, but it's good. The one that's in the hospital the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I'm more of a Halloween 3, man.
Oh, man, when I was a kid, there was nothing that pissed me off more than that movie.
I mean, like, the TV's going to fucking turn your brain into roaches and shit.
2 more days till Halloween.
Where can we find you on Cameo? Do we just look up your name?
Yeah, just look up my name, Trevor Strnad. I will dump your boyfriend for you, or give you any kind of praise that you want, or whatever. It's a lot of birthday wishes, which is cool.
Have you ever had to dump anybody via Cameo?
No, I hope that it'll happen. Like, I've definitely like scolded some people, like from a mom to her son, like, quit leaving your beer cans in the shower.
Holy
that was
shit!
A good one.
That's awesome. What a burn!
Yeah.
Fuck, that rules.
And yeah, for the most part, like it's fun. Like it's, you're making people smile. Sometimes they are so happy they cry. You know, I find out later, and like, oh, that's cool. It makes you feel good that I can do that. You know.
All right, you guys got to make some cameos. Break up with your significant other. Scold your children.
Yeah.
Send an anonymous, like, cursing out to your boss. I think there's a lot of options here.
Yeah, I'd really like that. I'd love to like rip into somebody's boss. That would be awesome.
The options are wide open, so get over there on Cameo and do the thing. We're gonna keep an eye out for your upcoming Twitch stream. I really want to see some NES games that I couldn't beat. Have you take care of them for me?
I'll try, man. They're still damn hard, but I'll try. Yeah, I'm about to come back in a couple days here. I'm just getting my gear up to par again, and you can find me on there under my name as well, just Trevor Strnad.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, for picking out the movie, and for talking the gory details with us. If folks want to follow you aside from Cameo and Twitch, everything is under your name, isn't it?
Well, it's under Trevor TBDM over at Instagram and Twitter. And I'm not really on Facebook. So those are your options.
Do it.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun again. I appreciate it muchly. I'm glad you guys hadn't seen the movie, and I could just make your lives that much worse, you know?
Thank you for bringing this depraved thing into our lives, and for being the all-time back-to-back-to-back champ of toilet radio.
Yeah! Feels good, man.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Hey.
Right, good night.